Well, hello, everybody. Tomorrow is the big day, Halloween. So I thought we'd check out something a little bit spooky. How about the top 10 most haunted places in Hollywood that are pure evil? Or as they say, evil. Let's check it out.
All right, today we're going on a trip to Hollywood. The glitz, the glam, the ghosts. Yeah, we're not here to talk about celebrities and stars unless they're dead and have a habit of spooking people as phantoms. Ever been to any of these places on the list? Ever seen anything scary? Let us know in the
probably
comments.
have.
I'm your host, James, and these are the top 10 haunted places in Hollywood that are pure evil. And we're starting off this list with the Comedy Store in West Hollywood. The Comedy Store
I've been there.
in West Hollywood had a reputation for being haunted for a long time due to a slew of reported supernatural experiences and encounters. Staff, comedians, and patrons have shared stories of unexplained sounds, shadowy figures, and eerie sensations while in the building, especially in the basement. Footsteps have been heard echoing in empty halls, and snarling sounds have also been reported. Some attribute these occurrences to the building's past, as it was formerly a nightclub called Zero, a very hip place in the 40s and 50s, but with ties to the mob. And the basement is where a lot of problem people were dealt with. Tragic events that have taken place there over the years may have left behind some lingering energy. Visitors have described sudden drops in temperature, objects moving on their own, and a general sense of someone or something watching them. The Comedy Store's paranormal stories have become so well known that there are even ghost tours of the club's
I've heard comedians talk
supposedly
about it.
haunted basement nowadays. Number 9, the Warner Pacific Theater.
Yeah, I've heard comedians talk about that at the Comedy Store, that they've had experiences there. Back in the old days, I guess some of them would like crash out there and stuff and sleep just right there in the bar. And they said they'd had some experiences there. But when I was there, I never really noticed anything. I went there a couple different times. They have two different showrooms there. They have a small one, and then they have a really big one. I went to the small one and did like a karaoke open mic night thing there. And then I went to the large room and watched the show. And it was kind of embarrassing because I was there on vacation, but I took my mom with me. And this was in the 80s. So it was when Andrew Dice Clay was getting real popular. Well, he wasn't on the list to be there. But since he was so popular, he showed up and they put him on stage. We were right in the front row, too. Thought for sure he was going to, go after us. But he didn't. He didn't say anything to me or my mom. My mom was really embarrassed, though, because he is pretty rank. But let's go on.
Now called the Hollywood Pacific Theater. This historic building is said to be haunted by Sam Warner, one of the Warner brothers, who put a ton of hard work and money into opening this theater, the first to be built for sound. In 1927, the theater was going to hold the premiere for the Warner Bros. Produced film, The Jazz Singer, the very first sound film, or talkie, as it was referred to at the time. But there were construction delays, so the film was going to have its premiere in New York instead.
Okay.
But just one day before this big premiere, Sam Warner would collapse, dead of a cerebral hemorrhage. He never got to hear the reviews. He never got to enjoy the fruits of his labor.
That
but
sucks.
some have reported feeling his ghostly presence in the theater to this very day, or even catching a glimpse of his ghostly presence making his way through the building. The elevator has been seen going up and down by itself, and apparently Sam's ghost likes moving things around in his old office or even scratching at the door. Number 8, we have the Hollywood sign itself. Legend has it that the ghost of Peg Entwistle, an aspiring actress in the 1920s and early 30s, roams the area near the sign. Peg Entwistle was a struggling actress who never really made it. On September 18th, 1932, a hiker discovered a shoe, purse, and jacket close to the sign. They soon found her body in a ravine below the sign, and it was determined that Entwistle had climbed a workman's ladder and jumped from the letter H of the sign. It's said that her spirit still haunts the area to this day. Some say they spotted a ghostly figure or felt a cold breeze on the path leading to the sign. Locals and hikers have reported sensing an unexplainable presence or catching a glimpse of a ghostly woman in old-fashioned clothing ascending the hill as nighttime falls over the Hollywood Hills. Some claim to hear faint echoes of her footsteps or hear her cries carried by the wind. Next on the list, we have Griffith Park. The sprawling urban park is known for its fun attractions and natural beauty. I mean, it is a park.
I haven't been there, but I know about it.
Covering over 4,000 acres, the park offers a mix of hiking trails, picnic areas, the iconic Griffith Observatory, and even a zoo, although it's abandoned. But aside from all that nice stuff, Griffith Park has also a reputation for being haunted. Legend says that the land was cursed in 1863 by a girl named Donna Petronilla, whose uncle, a wealthy land baron, cut her out of his will. And one of the most famous haunted spots within the park is the Griffith Observatory itself, sitting on a hill overlooking the city. This historic landmark has had a number of ghost stories associated with it. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures moving about the observatory after hours, while others report hearing unexplained footsteps echoing throughout the halls. Another haunted hotspot is the old zoo area, abandoned in sometime in the 1960s or late 50s. The dilapidated remnants of cages have fueled tales of these ghostly animal sounds and the figures of former zoo inhabitants. Ghost animals. I've never heard that one before, though. I like it. Local lore also says Griffith Park has some darker stories, including alleged occult activity.
Yeah, I don't
Number
doubt
6,
that.
the Colorado Street.
The Griffith Observatory. If you've ever seen the movie Rebel Without a Cause, there's a really popular scene in that movie with James Dean. It starred James Dean and Natalie Wood, and Vic Morrow, I believe, is in it also. But there's a scene in that movie that takes place at the observatory outside. That's a really good movie, by the way. The acting's kind of like 50s acting, but I like it. I like it quite a bit. James Dean was just coming on to being a star. And there's also rumors of his car that he crashed in being haunted. People that bought it afterwards and stuff, they ended up dying of different weird stuff.
Bridge. The Colorado Street Bridge in Pasadena, California has a spooky reputation due to its sad history. It was completed in 1913,
I don't know about
and it's
this.
a gorgeous bridge, but it's known for more than just its impressive looks. Back during the Great Depression, a lot of people ended their lives on the bridge, which has led to its pretty on-the-nose nickname. You can probably imagine what it is. So, because of these tragedies, folks started telling stories about the bridge being haunted. People who have been there talk about strange things like ghostly apparitions and shadows that don't make sense, or hearing whispers or disembodied voices. There's one story about a woman being seen crossing the bridge, cars swerving in order to avoid hitting her, only for the woman to vanish out of thin air. Stories like this have made the bridge pretty famous in books, movies, and even TV.
I haven't
And
heard
at number
about
5, we have the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. First used in 1899, there are tons of Hollywood celebrities buried there, and it's still an active cemetery to this day. It's also said to be incredibly haunted. Are there any cemeteries that aren't haunted, though?
Really.
Visitors have reported all kinds of paranormal activity here. You have your standard haunted place, like kind of stuff, cold spots, disembodied voices, semi-translucent people roaming around. But one that comes up a lot, apparently, is that of a woman crying by a lake on the cemetery grounds. Of course, she vanishes when you approach her. I do imagine there is plenty of crying going on in a cemetery because of all the dead people, but this is different. Next up, we have Grauman's Chinese Theater. This is probably one of the most famous movie theaters in the world.
I walked past
its forecourt has concrete tiles with handprints and signatures of various different stars, and the building itself takes inspiration from ancient Chinese architecture. The theater was opened by Sid Grauman in 1927, and apparently he had built hidden rooms in the theater for his famous friends to party in, and there was like a buzzer system that would allow them inside
I'll
these
bet
rooms.
lots of debauchery went on in
Those hidden rooms have since
there.
been sealed off, but one famous story tells of an employee in the 90s who kept hearing buzzers going off in some of these old secret rooms, although the buzzers had long been disconnected as well. There's also said to be the ghost of a former employee of the theater named Fritz, who took his own life behind the movie screen. And there's also apparently a ghost of a young girl in old-timey clothing named Annabelle, who roams about the theater at night. Coming in at number 3, we have the Pantagis Theater. This theater, located in the heart of Hollywood, is a historic building with a reputation for being haunted by ghouls and ghosts. Built in 1930, the theater has hosted a variety of performances over the years, vaudeville acts, films, and back in 1949, Howard Hughes, the millionaire aviator, took control of RKO Studios and its main theater, Pantagis. He set up his fancy offices in the second floor, and his presence is often still felt even today, apparently. Hughes seems to have a unique signal, the smell of cigarette smoke, which seems to announce his arrival, although he disliked smoking. A ghostly apparition of him, tall and thin in a simple suit, has been reported being seen walking through a wall that used to be his office doorway. But he's not the only specter said to haunt the building. In 1932, a woman passed away in the mezzanine during a show. Over time, people started hearing a woman's voice singing in the theater, sometimes during the day and even late at night after everyone left. The staff had a theory. The woman might have been an aspiring singer who came to enjoy musicals in the 30s. Now she seems to be living her dream by performing on stage herself. Engineers have even...
Could you imagine being like a janitor in the theater cleaning up and you're hearing a woman singing and you know that you're the only one in there? What would you do? As long as it didn't seem threatening to me, I wouldn't worry about it myself. If you started messing with me, I'd probably look for another job.
Caught her voice on a live performance microphone in one show, even though no one could actually see her on stage. Coming in at number 2, we have the Cecil Hotel. If you have any interest in haunted buildings or just creepy internet content, there's no doubt that you've heard of the Cecil Hotel. This historic hotel, now an affordable housing complex known as the Stay on Main, is pretty famous for a series of dark incidents. A lot of deaths have taken place there, and the circumstances of some of them are quite mysterious, some of which have never even been solved. Probably the most famous case this building is connected to is Elisa Lam, who had gone missing for a while with nothing but footage of her kind of erratic behavior captured in one of the elevator's security cameras. Her body was eventually found, however. She had managed to make her way to the roof, where she fell into an open water tank. She was discovered after guests had reported their water running black and having an odd taste. The Cecil was also home to some pretty notorious people, like the Night Stalker himself, Richard Ramirez.
Okay, he's saying that she fell into it, but from what I heard, the hole at the top of that is too small to have fit her. And how did she get up on top of it? There's a lot of controversy regarding that case, because I've heard that one of the security guards or custodian or something there was actually a suspect for a while. And also, I did hear, though, that she had like problems with depression and maybe bipolar disorder or something like that. So I don't know. But I heard that the hole in the top of that tank was too small for her to have like fallen in. She would have had to like basically squeeze in there, I think.
There are so many dark stories surrounding this place that many believe it to be haunted by countless spirits of those who met their end.
And Richard Ramirez, that's a sick guy.
And finally, we have the Roosevelt Hotel. The Hollywood Roosevelt is rumored to be haunted by the ghost of Marilyn Monroe. There used to be a mirror in the lobby where people would report spotting her reflection when taking a picture in front of it. Room 928 is also supposedly haunted by the ghost of Montgomery Clift, who lived in the room while filming Here to Eternity. There have been a number of stories where people hear the sounds of a trumpet playing coming from the room, even when the room is vacant. The hotel switchboard is also known to receive calls from empty rooms, and faucets and lights have been known to turn on by themselves as well.
I like the sound of this.
Nothing necessarily harmful going on. You got some trumpet playing in the room next to you. Your lights turn out without you even having to get up. You can snap a picture with Marilyn Monroe on your way out. When you look at it that way, it sounds like a pretty relaxing time. With all that said, I've been your host, James, and I will catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next.
Well, that was pretty interesting. I don't know. Let me know what you think of all that. What have you heard about the Elisa Lam case and all that stuff? And if you get a chance, check out that movie, Rebel Without a Cause, if you can find it. Natalie Wood and James Dean. And I think Vic Morrow, if I can remember, is in it. And Vic Morrow is Jennifer Jason Leigh's father. He's the man who actually died while filming the movie The Twilight Zone with the helicopter scene. But anyways, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Now it's time for a joke. When I was a kid, my fairy godmother asked me if I wanted a long penis or a long memory. I forget my response.
What?